What is up, YouTube, and welcome to this Lisey's story episode 1 and 2 recap, breakdown, and ending explained. Now, this new Apple TV Plus show is based on the book of the same name by Stephen King, which came out in 2006. It was written after a near-death experience that Stephen King had in 1999 after being hit by a van, and his wife would then go on to redesign his writing studio while he was in hospital. And he came back and he imagined what his life would be like after he died, after seeing his manuscripts and notes and in boxes. Now, King also wrote this TV script himself and seemed to prefer a streaming service take for an adaptation, as we have here an 8-part miniseries, as he decided that it was far too complex of a source material to actually be shown in a movie. Now, it's interesting as Stephen King is more and more embracing the streaming side of things, as we of course had The Stand that came out at the latter half of last year, which I covered on my channel. That was on CBS All Access, and we're having more and more adaptations. But then again, adaptations of Stephen King's products have been going around for decades. Of course, we had Cujo, we had, of course, the original It, and here this is a surreal show which really rewards the viewer for sitting and paying attention. And this show really is one that is best watched with just sitting there and passively enjoying everything that unravels as the episodes go on. It does seem like a show that is uniquely actually fit for binging. However, the first 2 episodes have dropped, and subsequent episodes will drop very, very soon, weekly. It follows both the past story of how Scott and Lisey met, and how his books took the world by storm, in an obvious parallel to Stephen King himself, who is widely regarded as one of the greatest authors and Imagineers of all time. Now, Scott in the story passed away 2 years ago, and Lisey is currently trying to navigate the difficult grief process. She constantly daydreams about their life together, and has seemingly, as well as that, repressed some of the darker memories that are unlocked in episode 2. Now, a professor called Dashmiel is urging her to look for unpublished works of Scott and publish them, which she refuses, as she is still coming to terms with the death of her husband. In the book, many different professors did come to her, and it's not explicit in the way that Dashmiel did order Dooley to go and try and harass her. Now, she also has a sister, Amanda, who is mentally ill and keeps cutting herself, and it seems this time she has been triggered by her ex-husband having remarried. Now, throughout Lisey's life, there has been contention between her and her sister about not only looking after their late mother, but also Amanda, who is highly, highly at risk and goes into states of catatonia and real self-harm. The division only got bigger when Lisey married Scott and his career really took off, and the other sister was incredibly jealous. However, here the core of this story focuses on what is called a ball hunt, or a treasure hunt with clues left by Scott. A ball, we would learn, is some sort of oath or a blood ball which itself is stronger and seems to connect the other world and visions throughout the show to, well, this world. Amanda has visions of her and her sisters playing on a boat as kids in a weird world, which in the book is called the Booyah Moon. It was mentioned briefly in the first 2 episodes by what I presume is supposed to be Scott's father in a flashback. It's a place Scott is able to travel to and seemingly powers his imagination for his book, and he was triggered by a specific book he read as a child, and he had a very, very dark childhood. We see Scott's childhood as horrid, and there is a dark past with his family, and essentially the ball hunt will lead to something with more details about Scott's past. I will try not to go in too depth about book spoilers, as this seems to be a bit of a different path they're taking. He is severely troubled by childhood trauma, which absolutely messed him up for life. Now, the clues for the ball hunt are hidden around all over the place. In episode 3, Lisey did get to the end of the ones so far, and she needs to find a cedar box, a family heirloom that is held by Amanda, or was held by her. I expect this hunt will help save Amanda, who, while in a facility, is seemingly stuck in this other world and will need to be saved. Although the hunt will not be easy, as a man named Dooley, hired by Dashmiel to get the unpublished works, is like a rabid dog and is a pure loony fanboy of Scott. He's threatening Lisey as he sees her as like a Yoko Ono style figure and is obsessed with the works of Scott. Dane DeHaan is superb in this role as the menacing attack dog unleashed, with Dashmiel not knowing how crazy this dude actually was. The key to everything will be Scott's past, which Lisey will have to unravel as she goes through each of these different clues. Amanda is clearly stuck in the same world that Scott had uncovered, and she needs to be retrieved. It is why he had a secret with her, which was from the pool, and he seemingly released her from the grip of the other world for a little while, and why he took such a special interest in her, as I think that he sees somewhat of himself in her. The self-harm itself does hark back to a childhood trauma, just like when he cut himself when Lisey had a go at him. And interestingly, she was accused of being controlling by other people in Scott's life, and she did act a bit controlling to him, which probably triggered him. We will no doubt dive further into the past of Scott and his family, especially his brother Paul, as all of this started when he was a child. The question remains, what is the pool, as this is what released Amanda for a bit, with it going into her mouth, and the only pool we've seen is the actual swimming pool, although throughout the memories we see sinks full of water as the otherworld reflection is shown in the swimming pool, and a mysterious monster in the end, which is one of the dangerous inhabitants of the Booyah Moon. It could be that the worlds are blending together. Lisey clearly knows that more, and the key is in her repressed memories, which I would imagine is the key to the bull hunt, as she must hunt for a book that was left by Scott. As well as the next clue is Amanda's cedar box, shows she is also key to this. Overall, I really liked it, and it's quite rare for me to really want to binge an entire season in one go. I did do this with Lupin Part 2 recently, which I will be covering next week, but I do prefer weekly releases. However, here, the show lends itself to be an absolute 8-hour marathon. But I really enjoyed it, and the performances here are what really make it, and really, if the performances weren't there like we had with The Stand, well, it would all go to pot. But that's it for this video. I will cover this weekly if you are interested. So if I get the views, I get the likes down below in the comments and the interactions, I will cover it, as I have had to drop the Bad Batch because, quite frankly, these videos take a very long time. And unfortunately, the views just weren't there, despite me absolutely adoring the show, as Star Wars is second only to Marvel in my favourite things in cult media. But that is it. Please do drop a like down below. Do subscribe with notifications if you want more, and I'll see you soon, and goodbye.